This is Steve Ridgel, and my old relatives used to always tell me that death comes in threes. And I don't know what to make of all that, but I do know that just in the last couple of weeks, three men I greatly admired who loved the Lord all went home to be with Jesus. And the news came almost one on top of the other. I don't know if these guys really knew each other. Two of them might have known of each other, but one was Richard Burch. Richard preached out in Atascadero, California. He was a bivocational preacher. I really appreciate him because of the work Harold Truth did in the Central Coast of California, and he was very involved, and he was interested in reaching people and serving people. He worked construction to support himself and his family, and they had just about made the decision to move and kind of go into semi-retirement. He was battling some health stuff, and all of a sudden he had a heart issue and was gone quickly. I always loved Richard because, well, how much he loved the Lord and how much he wanted other people to know Jesus. And then my friend Jim Hackney passed. Jim and I were early youth minister buddies, and I spoke at his youth group. He spoke for stuff. We did a lot of the youth circuit together back in the day, and I'd been to Midtown and then out to where they moved out to and preached there and just kept up over the years. And Jim had kind of, I don't know if you could ever say Jim retired. He got out of the pulpit. He was kind of their executive minister. And then he was kind of slowing up a little and went in for some surgery, and they found cancer. And within just weeks, Jim was on his way to heaven. I love Jim for a number of reasons, but really, I don't think he and Richard could possibly have known each other. But I love Richard Burt and Jim Hackney for the same reasons. Jim loved Jesus, and Jim wanted everybody to know about Jesus. And so I really love those two guys. And then, of course, at about the same time, one of my favorite college professors, Bill Humble, passed. Now, Bill was a lot older. Bill had lived a long, long time. But I love Bill because he loved the church. He loved Jesus and he loved the church. I took restoration history from Bill Humble, and boy, I loved, in fact, that's why I ended up getting my master's in restoration history because of Bill Humble and Everett Ferguson. That was the two guys that taught me to love history. And I tell you why I love Bill about history, though. He would talk about the church in the 1800s and early 1900s, restoration kind of history. And he would talk about it as if that was our family stories and of the things we ought to learn from that, the examples. And of course, Bill did Holy Land tours before that became a real popular thing, showing people how real it was where Jesus lived, which of course told you how real Jesus was. Bill loved Jesus, and he wanted people to know about Jesus, where he lived and how his people had done. Richard Burch, Jim Hackney, and Bill Humble. I had three guys about as dissimilar as anybody could ever find, except I loved all three of them because they loved Jesus and they wanted this whole world to know what we know. And so they're gone to heaven. I look forward to when I get to sit around and visit again with them. But I thought I wanted you to hear, it's amazing the work that goes on. Some of it we don't even know, by people who love Jesus and want our world to know him better. So Richard, Jim, and Bill, I want to be more like you, and I'll see you soon.